to Prime Sports Media. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
All right.
All right, everybody. Let's get ready to get into it. What's up, everybody? It was a very difficult loss the other night. Let's get into this right now. What's up? What's up? Welcome to Prime Sports Media. Woo! Where do I start? Man. I mean, this is a game that CU, they let get away. I mean, Coach Prime talked about it. I've got his press conference. I'm going to pull up here in a little bit and play a little bit of his press conference about how he felt. He said that they worked hard in practice. They studied their books. They, in his mind, were prepared. But Coach Prime said that the problem is that maybe the moment for this football team may have been too big. I'm quoting Coach Prime. It may have been too big for some of the players, maybe not for others. I don't know. There's a lack of consistency, which I've been observing throughout this season. There's some things I've been already concerned about. I think a lot of people out there have recognized that they really struggle. They still seem to struggle defensively with stopping the run on a more consistent basis. And Coach Prime said they got to get back to consistency. If you're going to win, you got to be consistent. You can't play good one week against a team like Wyoming where you go out there and you play at a high level. Obviously, as I said before, BYU is not Wyoming. And sometimes you got to play up to your competition. When a good competition comes your way, you can't play down to them. So in the opening of the game, they had the momentum. Everything was going their way. Let's go back to the beginning of the game with 10 minutes and 23 seconds in the first quarter when quarterback Salter. And I think overall, Salter, he had the one interception. But I think overall, coming off of how he played against Wyoming, I think he still is showing improvement even in this loss. Unfortunately, in the first quarter, 10 minutes and 23 seconds, with a 3-yard run because they got the ball down near the goal line area. He ran the ball in for a touchdown. That was pretty good stuff right there. Okay, so everybody was watching this and you were feeling like, hey, this is their game. They're coming alive. If they can beat BYU, they put themselves back on the national scene and the national conversation. This puts them one up in terms of getting a win in the Big 12, working and grinding towards getting into that Big 12 championship. Okay, then let me go over here because I want to, be very pragmatic about this situation. So you've got Salter, who I think he still made improvements in this game. I was not happy with the interception that he threw. I was kind of like, we know he was trying to get the ball to Omarion Miller, but then what happened? And that's one of my concerns, and I've been saying about the young man, is that the young man has to work on his ability to be accurate. There are times when he's running and throwing the ball while he's running where he makes some pretty interesting plays that he did in this game early on. And then there's times when he may throw a ball short, throw a ball inaccurate, or maybe in this case, as he did in the game against BYU, he throws a interception at the wrong time because they had a chance to come back in this game, okay? They had a chance to make some things happen in this ball game, okay? They didn't get, if you look at all their games, it's not like they're getting blown out. They're losing by 1, maybe 2 points, 2 touchdowns, 1 touchdown. They lost this game 24-21. I think to lose games this close sometimes is harder and more of a mental drain on you than getting blown out because you could have won this game. What's going on, James Blackburn? I'm glad to have you over here in JB. This is all a part of rebuilding. Everyone who keeps complaining doesn't understand. This is a whole new team who is searching for what works. Salter is fine. It's all about bringing it together. This isn't a one-player issue. No, I don't think it's a one-player issue at all. That's not where I'm going. I'm actually saying that Salters played a pretty good game considering where he was before early in the season where he got benched for Stobbs. I'm saying that he does have area of improvement, which is very obvious that young man has to continue to improve on his accuracy, improve on making sure he doesn't throw the ball in areas where the ball can be intercepted. Remember, BYU got the momentum, and then CU was able to get the ball back. And if it had not been for the interception, who knows? They could have very well marched the ball down the field, being down 21-24. And they could have actually gotten a field goal kick, which would put it up 23, 24, 25. They could have won this game against BYU with a field goal kick, making it 25-24 because you get 3 points for field goal kicks. Let me see. Let me get my math right. So they had 21 points, 22, 23, 20. No, they could have tied the game. They could have tied this game, put it into overtime. Or the most important thing we would have liked to have seen is that them to drive the ball down the field, punch it in for a touchdown, whether run or pass. So it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't like they got blown completely out. If you look at all their games, let me put this schedule chart up here for a minute. Okay, when they played against Georgia Tech, they lost to Georgia Tech 27-20. That was another game in which they caused Georgia Tech to have 3 turnovers. This isn't a bad football team, everybody, because I know the haters out there are going to say that. This is a young football team. He's playing a lot of young men out there who are fresh out of high school, guys that have transferred over in the portal who are probably in college football 1 year, 2 year, or had not gotten an opportunity to play and show what they could do. So the mistakes that they're making, to me, are more not because they're not talented. They got weapons all over this team. I don't think they're using their weapons efficiently as they could. I think what's happening is that you've got a young team that's making inexperienced mistakes at crucial times in the game that they could win. So when you look at them against Georgia Tech originally, they lost 27-20. Georgia Tech's a pretty good team coming out of the ACC. Georgia Tech did not blow them out. Okay? They beat Delaware 31-7. Okay? Houston so far is the only team so far coming out of the Big 12 that had a bigger deficit on them. They lost to Houston 36-20. That's another game where they did make Houston turn the ball over a few times, and they had their opportunities, and they just couldn't. The defense came up short. That was a game where the defense really did not play very well, and I think the defense in this particular game as a unit came up short again, given a very young football team that's going through some growing pains because we don't have Deion Sanders' son. Shador is not there. Shador is not coming through that door. Travis is not coming through that door. How about Travis yesterday making a big play against my 49ers with his first big-time NFL touchdown?
Tell the truth.
So when you realistically look at the schedule, everybody, they're not getting blown out. They were very competitive against a BYU team that's very experienced. Now, I said in my pregame, everybody, don't sleep on these pregame videos that I produce. I did say in that video that their secondary was pretty good but when you get to the second and third string of their secondary, BYU is thin. And if you notice in the beginning of the game, we were hurting them both on the ground, in the air, okay? Then I said that their quarterback, who he surprised me, he played pretty good, mainly running the ball. This young man did not hurt us. I mean, he got the ball to Roberts, number 2, his main receiver, and DJ McKinney. This was a full team situation, everybody. You can't blame it on one person, but there are areas of the team that must need improvement. DJ McKinney has been having, I'm noticing, let me know if you notice it, DJ McKinney, all due respect to him, he is a top flight defensive back in college football this year, but he has had some problems here and there. I'm sure he's kicking himself in the butt right now, trying to figure out how to play much better. He told us early in the season that he wasn't happy with the performance of the team so far. He's got to play better. He knows this. But in this game, he had some problems against their top flight receiver, particularly when they were running these slot formations where he was kind of getting beat a little bit here and there. And then he had some penalties, a penalty or two that was called on him. I think DJ McKinney is still, he's an aggressive defensive back. He's physical. You want him to stay physical, but he was having some problems. He's had some issues here and there during the beginning of the season. If he can improve on his technique, on what he's doing, defensively, we could do a lot better. I think the defense up front, remember we lost a lot of guys. Now, I was surprised that Jordan Seaton played, because in my latest report that I read off in the pregame report, it looked like Jordan Seaton was not going to be playing in this game. So I was glad to see that he was out there playing, okay? I didn't think that Tawfiq, the safety, I didn't think he was going to be playing. And then we got a nice surprise in the game when they had him out there playing as well. I want to put the brother up here right now. This is the brother who transferred to us over from South Florida. He's got a lot of experience too. He came in the game, and I think he led the team in defense in terms of tackling. And I want to look at the chart on this right here. Here he is. Tawfiq had 10 tackles, total tackles, 7 solo tackles. So he led the team defensively with tackles in this game. And that was good. But one of the areas that still hunts this football team is the ability to stop the run. That continues to be the Achilles heel of this football team, everybody. Do you agree with me? Put 7s in the chat room. JB, Nash, everybody that's here, if you agree with what I'm saying right now, their ability not to stop the run is hurting them. And I had said this in my pregame video that BYU likes to run play action when they get their running game going. Not only do they run their running backs, but they'll make their quarterbacks run. Now, their running backs did not really hurt us like that. Let's put the stat up here, right here. So it was Bear Backmeyer who really hurt us, right? He went 19 of 27 for 179 yards, 2 TDs, but he did a lot of that damage on the ground. 15 carries for 98 yards, 16 yards was his longest run. LJ Martin, who is their feature running back, had 15 carries for only 58 yards. What does that tell me? That tells me that defensively, we were able to neutralize the running back, because that's a lot of carries. He got 15 carries for 58 yards only. He didn't get 100 yards on us. So that tells me that we were able to pretty much keep their running back in check. But where we're having the biggest problems is that we are struggling as a football team. We are struggling as a football team to stop quarterbacks from running on us. Every quarterback that is mobile, that can run, we have struggled with. We could go all the way back to all the games that we lost. The Houston game and the game against Georgia Tech. When their quarterbacks were able to run the ball and run the table on us, we struggled. I don't know what it is. Now, we know that CU plays a lot of man-to-man coverage. And one way that you can negate a running quarterback is to play some zone, to play some elaborate zones, maybe some zone blitzing where you can get to the quarterback, right? But play some zones, because when you play a little bit of zone, that allows you to keep maybe a spy on him, on the quarterback, or keep some linebackers in the closer to the line. But when you play complete man-to-man and now the quarterback is capable of running and taking off, that will hurt you if you already are struggling to stop the run. So this is the identity of CU on defense, is that they want to play sort of a pro-style defense where they're going to man you. And man-to-man is very effective when you got guys on the outside that are covering. Okay? Now, it wasn't like DJ McKinney or Preston Hodge were getting beat left and right. Now, Preston Hodge has had his problems this season. I just don't think, and I have to be honest, I just don't think that the defensive backs, particularly Preston Hodge and DJ McKinney, I don't think they've gotten into their stride this season so far. I know Preston Hodge is a new father and what have you, and fatherhood is a beautiful thing. But I don't think Preston Hodge is playing at the level so far. Still a lot of games to play so far. It's not like Preston Hodge is getting beat left and right. I think in one game this season he got beat. But I think Preston Hodge, they caught up. I think there were times in the game where you could tell he was frustrated. There were times when you could clearly see that DJ McKinney was frustrated. Tell me if I'm right or wrong in the chat room. There was some frustration. And I think we got to get that cleaned up going forward. Guys have got to be where they're supposed to be on their defensive assignments, and guys have got to play consistent from week to week, and Coach Prime has said this. Now, let me go up here and show this. This is the thing. CU was never a favor in this game, everybody. They had the ESPN analysis had CU losing to BYU. That BYU was favored by 78.4% to beat CU, which was only favored by 21.6%. But yet we came out in this game and we did some damage early on. And I was concerned because as the game was going on, you could slowly see that CU was losing momentum as the game went on, as the mistakes start to mount, unfortunately. And this is the area that Coach Prime is saying that they've got to clean up. When you look at total yards, BYU had 396 total yards to our 291 yards. We had one turnover. They had no turnovers. They had 27 first downs. We only got 17 first downs. You can't win football games like that when you can't generate more than 17 first downs in a game. Okay? They had 33 minutes and 35 seconds of time of possession. I've been saying this since I've had this channel, that you've got to have control of time of possession. They were mainly able to generate those total yards in that time of possession because they had a quarterback that, for whatever the reasons, a young freshman quarterback that we were not able to totally neutralize, that was running all over the field. Now, let's not kid ourselves. He's not as a talented runner as our man right here, Salter. Salter did his thing that night, as I told you, getting that first touchdown and doing his thing. Another individual that I was excited about that was doing his thing, and I would have liked to have seen Michael Welsh get more carries than he got in that game. But let me put Michael Welsh up here. Is Michael Welsh right here. Michael Welsh in the first quarter with 5 minutes and 8 seconds ran a touchdown for 5 yards No. That was Draylon Miller. I'm going to come to Draylon Miller in a minute. No, Michael Welsh with 6 minutes and 23 seconds in the first quarter ran the ball for 27 yards, a 27-yard run, which was a beautiful run by this young man. So what I notice about him, when Michael Welsh gets out in the open field, when he can get the ball, he can feel himself, feel confidence, he can do a lot of damage when given the opportunity. But this is the thing. Just like a week ago, when he got 67 yards rushing, same thing happened in this game. He got 11 carries for 67 yards. His longest run was for 27 yards with 6 minutes and 23 seconds on the clock. I would have liked to have seen personally what Michael Welsh could have done had he got 18 carries, 20 carries, 23 carries, 25 carries. I think he could have done more damage given that they would have been more conservative. I'm telling you right now, when I say conservative, with running the damn football, when CU got a lead and the momentum was on their side, I think that's the time that they should have really milked the running game with their backs. What was happening is that they gained a lot of momentum off of the feet and scrambling, which is good, of Salter. But defensively, the defense could not maintain the lead that they had built up early on when they went 14 up on this team. And that really hurt them in the end. Let me go over to this play right here. My man that I really like right here, Draylon Miller.
Tell the truth.
And peace and respect to everybody that's listening to the program today. That was the play that I was saying a little bit earlier, but here it is. Draylon Miller with 5 minutes and 8 seconds in the first quarter. He ran a 5-yard touchdown. It was Draylon Miller who did that. I got some things I want to say about Draylon Miller today because what he did in this game, he could have done in all games that they played. He could have done this against Georgia Tech. Now, early on against Georgia Tech, they gave him the ball just a few times, and Georgia Tech was able to sort of like tackle him here and there. He really didn't get off because that's the reason why he didn't get off like he could have against Georgia Tech, because he did not get the ball enough. When he played against Houston, did not get the ball enough. When he played against Delaware, did not get the ball enough. There's a reason why there's a reason why Draylon Miller blossomed in this game in the way that he did. And it's very simple. 2 of their players were out hurt. That if you notice, for example, if you got a crowded backfield, so you've got Taylor, who was hurt, unfortunately, didn't play in this game. You've got Price, who came over in a transfer portal, who has a history of injury. These 2 young men did not play. Of course, you had my man, Michael Welsh. I've been rooting for him since day one they got him out of high school. What happened is you got a lot of running backs, but only so many people can carry the rock at the time. And we know that Draylon Miller is sort of a Swiss Army knife, a man that you can line up as a running back, you can line him up as a receiver and let him do some damage. But if you notice in those games, that's why I said you got to use your weapons. Draylon Miller's was with this team before the other new additions came on board. You know what you got in Draylon Miller. You know that what he does best is when you move him around in different parts of the field, put him in the slot, let him run the ball a few times out of the backfield when you have short yardage plays at times. Get him in situations where he can run to the outside, sometimes inside out. Get the ball in his hands in open space or down the field. He's fast enough to go down the field and catch the ball. They weren't doing this with Draylon Miller. They were forced to do so because of the injuries of Taylor and the injury, unfortunately, of Brother Price. I give you the analysis. I give you the breakdown over here. So because of those injuries, Coach Prime had no choice but to lean on a Michael Welsh, to lean on a young man like Draylon Miller. So as a result of injuries, Draylon Miller got an opportunity to remind Buff Nation that, hey, I can play some damn football around here. And if you just give me some reps in game play, I can make some dangerous things happen. Imagine if imagine if this young man, Draylon Miller, would have been put into the mix a little bit more. Although I'm not going to lie to you and say that Taylor does not intrigue me. He intrigues me because he brings speed. He brings that same element, Draylon Miller, that he can get out to the outside and do some damage. So I think what happened is that Coach Prime and the coaches wanted to experiment with the new weapons that they had on this team, which was Price, who's now hurt, has a history of injuries, and Taylor, which, hey, get them the ball, get them involved. We need all weapons involved, right? And I even said to you, I would like to see them do a package where they have Draylon Miller out there with Taylor, along with Amarion Miller and Sincere Brown. I'm going to get to the issue of Sincere Brown because he was not a factor in the game, not because he couldn't be a factor. I just don't know if the effort was really there to get the ball to him. Now, we have to be fair. If Salter is going to run the ball the way he's been running the ball to keep us in the game, to make plays, to keep the chains moving, as a result of him running successfully, it does take away. And this is not hating. This is just the truth. If your quarterback is going to run quite a bit as he does to get us out of situations, then it does take away the in-game reps or the in-game opportunities of your receivers from getting as many catches as they possibly can, because when the quarterback steps back and he doesn't see anything that he wants to throw, he doesn't see anybody open, or he doesn't feel comfortable with making that throw, and he takes off running either because there's pressure or he sees the running lane, then your receivers, as talented as the receivers are for CU, whether it be a great return man like Quentin Gibson, who, by the way, had a 20-yard run, is his longest run for punt return for CU. This man is certified as a great punt returner so far. He's just a game away, maybe in the next game coming up against TCU, of taking the ball to the house. I'm ready for that to happen. But when you have a running type quarterback, it's going to take away opportunities for the receiver. So what happens is that you take the good with the bad. Running quarterbacks are going to get you out of situations. Running quarterbacks can win you some games, but it doesn't allow your receivers to get into the flow themselves because you're not throwing the ball to them because the quarterback is often running. So it's a catch-22 when Salter runs and the receivers can't get into the flow of the game, like Amarion Miller or Sincere Brown. Let me tell you why, what I'm saying. Jeffrey Bay says, with speed, a big target. Right, these are big targets, but these targets can't do anything for you if you're not getting the ball in their hand. Let me show you the stat line on this right now. So you look at this. Chase Roberts, number 2, had 5 receptions for 49 yards and 2 TDs for BYU. He was the guy that DJ McKinney was sort of struggling with here and there in the game, right? Joseph Williams is the guy right here. Joseph Williams had 5 catches, 56 yards, 26 yards being his longest. So he was the man who made an impact with 5 catches in this game. But this is here's the issue here. Here's the issue. Draylon Miller had 2 catches for 27 yards. Longest run was 19 yards out of catch. Okay. Amarion Miller had 1 catch for 19 yards. You got to get the ball in his hand more than that. Do you see my point here, everybody? Put 7s in there if you see the truth of what I'm saying. Sincere Brown had 1 catch for 8 yards. 2 of your big-time receivers to the outside were a non-factor with only getting 1 reception. That ain't going to do it, ladies and gentlemen. If you expect CU to win football games, Be it the defense had problems in this game that allowed the quarterback for BYU, Bear, to run all over the damn place. Be it the defense had their problems, you still offensively have to utilize your weapons. And Omarion Miller only having one catch the whole game, along with Sincere Brown for one catch for 8 yards, and Omarion Miller having only one catch for 19 yards, even though 19 yards is very nice to have. I'm sorry. That ain't going to pay the bills. That's not going to win you a football game against a good opponent that is showing you that they can run the ball on you with their quarterback, even if you've negated their running back. Now you've got a running quarterback that you're struggling with because you're playing man-to-man defense. And now you have not said, let's play a little bit of zone to negate the quarterback from running. When you're going against a quarterback that can run and the team is not necessarily beating you by air, but they're beating you by foot, mainly with their quarterback, you may need to consider running some type of elaborate defense. My question, and I'm not punching down, but I'm asking football question, why didn't Robert Livingston, as the defensive coordinator coming out of NFL background where they do play zone and mix it around with man-to-man, why didn't he employ a little bit of more zone defense so that they can negate the quarterback from running all over them? Because they clearly were not beating us with the passing game other than one guy, and that was Chase Roberts, who got 2 touchdowns. And as I said before, DJ McKinney was struggling somewhat in that game along with Preston Hodge at times. And those are areas that have to be improved. Am I making any sense, or am I making sense here? Y'all let me know either in the comment section of this video or in the, so we got some people that are agreeing with my assessment. Let me know what you believe, what you think. I'm just being a critical thinker here and what have you. Once again, Draylon Miller, in my opinion, could have done everything that he did in this game, whether it be against Georgia Tech, to Houston, all the games that they played prior to playing against BYU. They're going to have to rethink how they distribute the ball to their talented running back room. I'm going to tell you right now, because of what Draylon Miller did in this game, even if Taylor comes back healthy or even Price, I think that the guys that should be a priority to have the ball in their hands coming out of the backfield should be a Draylon Miller, should be a Micah Welsh. They've been in the system longer. And therefore, not to say that you don't utilize the talent and speed of Taylor, but you don't use these weapons at the expense of your experienced weapons and Draylon Miller, who showed you in this game that he can be a one-man wrecking crew. Nobody else so far has shown you so far in the season that they can be a one-man wrecking crew out of that backfield. Not even Taylor, is talented as he is. And as talented, and Price had games where he caught the ball and got a touchdown. Beautiful. Taylor has done some things that I like. Beautiful. But we cannot keep one of our other most precious gems, like Draylon Miller. We can't keep him, hide him out. You got to figure out ways, and this is on Pat, the offensive coordinator, who I'm starting, really, everybody, to feel very, very soured on. I'm beginning to be soured. I'm beginning to be soured on this man. Because when all these guys were healthy, I didn't see not one package with all of them on the field at the same time to create more pressure on the defense to cover these guys. And then once again, we got to be honest. Salter is doing a great job running the ball. Now, I got to be honest, the offensive line in this game did open up the holes for both Draylon and Michael Welsh to do some damage early in the game. And we have to give Salter credit for what he's been able to do so far with his feet, as well as his arm. But they've got to figure out a fine balance between him running and him throwing the ball, because we cannot have Salters running the ball every single down at the expense of not utilizing the other weapons that can clearly do damage on this team, like Draylon Miller that you see right there. You see.
Tell the truth.
Whew. Let's hear what Coach Prime had to say about this. Everybody, thank you. Make sure you share this video on all your social media. If you're a part of a CU fan club group, definitely go ahead and share this video over there. I want to say thank you again. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, and make comments when necessary on this video. But let's go and hear what Coach Prime has to say right now. Check this out.
Let's go.
Hi, Coach. Nikki Edwards, Yahoo Sports. Just 19 total yards and over 3 on third down in the fourth quarter. What were you seeing on the offensive side of the ball in that quarter?
We had opportunities. We just didn't make it happen. If you slow down and you watch the film, you're going to see tremendous opportunities. We just didn't make it happen. And that's unfortunate, because you go over and
I want to just say, everybody, I acknowledge the things you're saying. Jeffrey Bay, you're saying great things. Blue Devil Gleam, thank you for coming over. Hollywood 33, I do agree about the wide receivers. Thank you. JB says I need to throw more. Yes. Keith, thank you for coming over. He says out of the buff, a loss to Georgia Tech, Houston, and BYU. The quarterbacks destroyed the Buffs' defense, running, not passing. I think Salters played a good game when it was necessary. He played a good game against Wyoming as his comeback game. And I think that in this game against BYU, he showed you in the beginning that they were struggling to cover him when he ran the ball, and that he was able to effectively get the momentum on the side of CU. But in this game, what happened is that what happened so much to this team that really bothers me is that when they get a lead, then at times the defense will struggle. And then when the offense gets the ball back, they start to become stagnant, where they can't make anything happen, where they go dormant and quiet. And that goes back to what Coach Prime said about consistency. You're going to hear him say that here. Let's get back to it.
over those same situations at practice all during week, and you see it happening. It's the same defense. It's not like you were tricked or anything. It was there. We just didn't make it happen. Great question.
Coach John Treach, 9 News. You mentioned you thought the moment was too big for some of your guys.
Yeah.
Can you fix that?
We can try, but they got to step up. I'm not going to make excuses for them. They got to step up.
Yes, they do.
They got to step up. It's.
Tell the truth.
I don't know what else I can say about it. They're prepared. They're studying film. Same thing that we saw in the scout team, the same plays that they ran tonight. I mean, it was a great scouting output for the staff. We just got to step up. We got to make the plays that were there.
Do you agree with Coach Prime? Everybody watching this program, leaving comments, do they need to step up? I'm asking an obvious question because I want to read your comments in the comment section of this video, okay? I'm going to say again, my constructive criticism goes hand in hand with what Coach Prime is saying. This is not hating. This is not punching down. I am for CU. I believe in the process. Understand this process. been rocking with this team ever since Coach Prime came out of Jackson, right? I've been there making the videos, talking about them. But we have to also be honest as to what is going on with the football team this particular season. I'll say it again. I think a lot of the problems that they're having is because they have a youth movement, meaning they've got a lot of young guys fresh out of college, as I said before, fresh out of high school, guys that are in their second year, first year, guys who, even if they transfer from other programs, did not get a lot of experience playing in those programs, and they're going through some learning pains. Now, for the guys that are experienced, my man Preston Hodge, my man DJ McKinney, there's a few guys on this team that are veterans who they got to step up because they've got experience under their belt. Let's continue to hear what Coach Prime is saying here.
We had tremendous opportunities to make the plays.
Tremendous opportunity.
Hi, Coach. Adam Munster Tiger, 24/7 Sports. We got to see Draylon kind of showcase his versatility today.
Yeah.
How big could this be to kind of get him going?
That's what it's going to be. It's not. That wasn't a play. That was real. That's what he is going to do for us from here on. That's who he is. We've identified what he is. Marshall is happy to have him in his room, and we're going to use him as much as we can.
Boom. What did I just say? That if you look at what they did early on in the season, that Draylon Miller was underutilized. Coach Prime has just reinforced my whole point here when he says to you that they recognize what he is, what he can do. You have an experienced running back coach in Marshall Faulk, a Hall of Famer who's already said that he believes that Draylon Miller has what it takes to play on Sunday. And Coach Prime has admitted that they need to reinforce his development on this football team by getting him the ball more. Coach Prime is admitting to this fact. So when I come on here and say what I just said, this isn't punching down. This is telling the truth, because Coach Prime is admitting to you that they recognize that he's got to get the ball. We know that Taylor is a weapon. Certainly Price showed some flashes of being someone that can do some damage as well. But Coach Prime recognizes that, you know what, we probably have been underutilizing Draylon Miller from the start of this season. And we got to do something about it. We got to be about it and not play around and get this young man involved. I suspect against TCU, we will see a heavy dose of Draylon Miller, and thank God for that.
Tell the truth.
Let's continue.
And even more.
Hey, Coach Leo Rivera with Go Sports. Last week you talked about, you said it was undisciplined for your team's defense to be able to fade late. You had 6 total penalties accepted against today. How do you have to go
Say
about
that
fixing
once
that?
again.
You had 6 penalties accepted against your team today. How do you go about
That ain't going to win football games, everybody, when you get 6 penalties like that in a game that became close.
fixing that?
What does that mean, accepted against it? We had 6 penalties. Yeah, we had 6 penalties. Is that the total? There was one that was declined, I think. Yeah, I think that's better than last year.
Yeah, last year they did get a lot of penalties, but when you're playing against a team like BYU in your own backyard and it's a close game, those penalties can be the difference between you winning and losing a football game. Let's get back, though. Coach Prime's breaking it down.
I'm trying to find light, man, in a dark tunnel.
Right. I get it, Coach Prime.
Penalties will happen. It's the timing of some of the penalties.
Right. That's what I mean.
The problem. The timing. We have the DBs wearing gloves at practice like mittens so they can't reach. We're doing everything.
The timing of those 6 penalties, like I said, are crucial if it leads to BYU winning the game.
Everything we can. We just got to make the plays and not do the stuff that disable you and disarm you from winning the game.
Right.
Hey, Coach
Facts,
Brian
Coach
Howell,
Prime.
Camera. You guys came out offensively and did a lot of new wrinkles tonight, some things we haven't seen before.
Right.
But then it seemed after those first couple drives went away from that. Can
I
you
don't
talk
think
about that a little
I
bit?
don't think we went away from that. I think the game sometimes dictates what you're going to do. We were okay with where we were at halftime, but we knew we were in for a fight in the second half. Going into the locker room at halftime, we wish we could have gotten another score tremendously. And even tonight, one of the big penalty, shoot, you don't get that penalty, one of the receivers or whoever it was on that long run. We may be sitting up here in a different mood. Both teams had 6 penalties that I'm looking, but ours was for 67 yards, theirs for 34. We got to do better. We got to do much better. And we have been doing much better.
That question that was asked of Coach Prime was a very appropriate question because you hear Coach Prime talking about penalties still. And you've got to be a more disciplined team. And they are capable of doing so. I don't think the problem with CU, because people out there that are haters, like I'm going to say it again, I don't think the problem with CU is that they don't have physical gifted players. I don't think it's a physical issue. I think it's more of a mental issue. I think they're making mental mistakes. I don't think they're making physical mistakes. It's mental mistakes because once again, they're not getting blown out of the gym or out of the damn park by these teams. BYU, as good as they are, as good of coaching that they have, BYU did not come into Folsom Field and just run all over CU and blow them off the field and put up 40 and 50 points on them. They lost this game 21-40, and that's where the 6 penalties come into play. The turnover by Salter, the 1 turnover, all of those things play a role, and then their lack of ability to stop the quarterback from running all over the damn field. These are small aspects that have to be improved going forward. Remember, they got TCU. I think they're playing at TCU. Let me see the schedule right here. So they're going to be playing. They're going to be playing at TCU. And then I'm really happy that they've got 14th ranked Iowa State coming to Boulder because that's good. That's a tough team. Now, if CU can beat TCU, who is ranked 24th in the country, remember, BYU was ranked 25. CU has a chance to get themselves in the ranking if they would have beat BYU, right? But check this out. If they beat TCU, number 25 TCU, and then turn around and go home and upset 14th ranked Iowa State, that will automatically throw CU into the national conversation as well as throw them in as a favorite to get to the Big 12 championship. That's a fact.
Tell the truth.
The question, how you doing, Peggy? The question is, can they do that? And they should do that, but they've got to get there, you know what, together. Let's continue.
Better. We just got to stay consistent with that.
Coach,
My man.
Carlo.
Talked about a lot
Jack
about
Carlo.
consistency these past few weeks,
Yeah.
minus a few mistakes, obviously at the end. Just do you feel like you saw more of just a consistent team than what you have in previous weeks?
No, I saw what I saw at practice. Everything I saw today, I saw at practice. And that's where it starts. And then the preparation.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing different than what I saw at practice, what we just saw in the game. And I pray that these young men understand practice, what we just saw in the game. And I pray that these young men understand that practice is your prerequisite. That's your preparation for how you're going to perform. Rarely have I seen.
Right, Coach Prime. Practice is the prerequisite. And I had to end that there. I think Coach Prime has said what we need to hear. Like I said, for people out there that are supporting this football team, we have a chance to turn things around. I'm going to say it again. If CU can beat, they got everything on their side. If they go to TCU and beat TCU in TCU's backyard, that's going to say a lot. They're ranked 24th. If they turn around, come home for some good home cooking, at Folsom Field and they upset Iowa State, if they beat two ranked teams, it automatically propels CU into the national ranking scene for the championship playoffs for a national champ. And if they can beat those two ranked teams and run the board the rest of the way, let's look at the schedule. So who would they have after Iowa State? And who would they have after TCU? Two ranked teams. They only lost to a 25 ranked nationally team in BYU by 21-24. So they could play with the team had it not been for the mistakes that they made. But who would they have after that? They would have Utah. They could beat Utah. They would have Arizona. They could beat Arizona. They would have West Virginia. These are not world beaters. So the next few games will be against teams that are not even ranked football teams. They could play with these teams if it would be for the defense to be more consistent and for the team overall to play more consistent and for them to utilize all necessary weapons. Like Draylon Miller. You understand what I'm saying? Let's look at defense before we get ready to end this podcast today. Tariq, as I said, had 10 tackles. Carter Stollmeyer, who this is his time. This should be his year. Really want to see this brother step up and make big plays out there. He's a hard-hitting safety. He got 7 total tackles in this game. Let's continue. He's been quietly playing well out there, making tackles, getting to people, flying all over the place. And I like that. He's been doing it quietly. You haven't heard his name called a lot, but he's out there silently doing things. Then you had Parker, who had 5 tackles, but there were times, I think he plays defensive back. There were times that Parker in the backfield, there were times where he had his issues too. Then you had Brown, number 42, who had 4 touchdowns. 5 tackles, excuse me. Brown, defensively. This young brother made some things happen defensively that we have to appreciate. Here he is right here. I'm just wanting to put his picture up here. So Brown went out there and got 5 tackles, not touchdowns, 5 tackles. I meant to say 5 tackles. He went out there and did what was necessary to make the plays work. I think everybody that's here listening to this podcast today. And then you had Walker, linebacker Walker with 5 tackles. McPherson had 4 tackles. London Merritt came in. He's a young player, number 44, had 4 tackles. Matavius French had 3 tackles. And Preston Hodge had 3 tackles. Did not get, beat or anything, but he did. There were times when you could tell he was frustrated when they would call, some penalties. Some of the officiating in this game, I have to admit, was not that good. There go Matavius French, who played, he did his thing. Walker contributed with another 5 tackles in the game. This young man right here seems to be getting better in his play, but they've got to figure out, as not only as individuals, but as a complete defensive unit, I think they've got to make improvement playing better as a unit, better as a secondary, better as a upfront defense from the defensive line to the offensive, not the offensive, but the linebacker core. They've got to play better. And what I see right now is that they were able to hold Martin to 58 yards rushing. They did not allow him to get 100 yards rushing, which was good. But their Achilles heel, at the end of the day, you got to be honest, CU's Achilles heel is their lack of ability consistently. This is the theme for this video today. Consistently to stop the quarterback. When they deal with running quarterbacks, they struggle very badly. Now, I'm going to say again, could the struggle, you let me know, could the struggle be is because they're playing a lot of man-to-man, maybe too much man-to-man, and they're not mixing in some zone? Tell me if I'm wrong or right. If they mixed in a little bit of zone against specific running quarterbacks, would this make a difference in their ability to contain some of these running quarterbacks that they have struggled with? That's a question that I ask you watching this program. Put a comment in the comment section if you think that could be the case, or a comment in the chat room while I'm live right now. Let us know. I'm going to get ready to get out of here. Once again, Draylon Miller needs the ball in his hands. They've got to figure out a way to fairly distribute in-game reps to both Michael Welsh, Taylor, Price when he comes back from injury, when Taylor comes back from his injury. They got to figure out a way. They have a problem that's a good problem to have. A bad problem is when you don't have anybody to turn to that can be electrifying on the football field. They have a positive problem, which is they got a lot of talent. And now they got to figure out how to fairly distribute the in-game reps to Draylon Miller, along with guys like Mike, as I said before, and then how to utilize their new weapons and guys like Taylor and Price. How do they do that? At the same time, realize that Draylon Miller may just need to have, I got to be honest, everybody, he may need to have more in-game reps. He may need to have the ball in his hands maybe a little bit more than some of the new additions. I know that's a hard, I'm making the hard statement here, but it's a fact. And Coach Prime already admitted it in the press conference.
Tell the truth.
They need to step up. Blue Devil Green, you're absolutely right. Step up. Cloudy thoughts. Pat's got to go, in my opinion. Next time I go live, I'm going to play that video clip. I've already clipped it, of Steve Smith, who played with the Carolina Panthers, and he was talking about why he thinks that Travis Hunter may be having a little bit of a slow start at the pro level, because Steve Smith, who's a Hall of Famer, made the declaration that he doesn't think that Pat is a good offensive coordinator, and that he doesn't believe that under Pat that Travis Hunter was able to learn how to run the best. Well, this is what he's saying. I didn't say this. This is what Steve Smith said, that he doesn't think that the routes that Travis Hunter runs at the pro level are the most crisp and clean routes, because pro football is completely different from college. And Steve Smith says he believes that Travis Hunter can play well, but they got to figure out whether they're going to let him be a receiver or defensive back, because they say at the pro level, it's difficult to play both sides of the ball. It's not the same as college football. And the question is, did he get the best experience in route running with the coaching of Pat? And he believes that Pat is not a really good offensive coordinator. This is coming from a Hall of Fame receiver, Steve Smith, on his channel, on his podcast. I didn't say this. This is not something that I made up. I'm simply quoting what he said. And I think that Coach Prime needs to take a serious evaluation and look at whether it may be time. Maybe I'm being premature with making this statement. Y'all let me know. But it might be a consideration that he may need to consider bringing someone else in, or promoting someone to take over those reins. I'm not confident, even with the way they played in the beginning of this game with their weapons against BYU. I'm still not confident with this man right here. Just like we weren't confident with the other offensive coordinator, Sean, I'm not confident with Pat right now. Look. Maybe Byron Leftwich, who came over from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, maybe he needs to be elevated to offensive coordinator. I'm just saying, because it ain't looking good in my opinion with the play calling of Pat. Now, Coach Prime, I'm just making an observation, not trying to tell you what to do, just making a fair observation.
Tell the truth.
Everybody out there, thank you for watching this podcast. I'll be watching. Hopefully, maybe next week I can go live after the game and give my analysis of what goes down against TCU. TCU is going to be another one of those games. I'm going to make a prediction that I believe that CU will be in a game that will be tight, that will be a close contested game. I don't think that they're going to get blown out in TCU. I think it's going to be a tough game that's going to come down to special teams, kicking field goal kicks, and not making mistakes at the last minute, and who can punch that ball in the end zone down the stretch. With that said, everybody, you all take care. Thank you. This is Prime Sports Media. Peace. Y'all take care. Thank you. Share the video. Peace, everybody. Y'all take care. Thank you for watching. Everybody in the chat room, love you. Thank you.
Tell the truth.
Listening to Prime Sports Media. Everybody have a great day, great week. Thank you.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.